So first I'll say that the Learning Academy for us as an airline is really at the heart and core of everything that we do. It determines our success and failure. Because having well-trained crew members, having well-trained engineers, I'm talking about cabin, cockpit crew, both engineers, ground staff, security staff, is extremely important. It first and foremost, is something that determines the platform of safety that we build. It determines the service culture. It determines the entire customer experience, reliability of the airlines. These are things that are important for the development of our employees, the development of the airline, and most importantly, our customers will feel it with the service excellence with which we approach them and the delivery of the customer experience. So it's very, very important. In terms of our expansion, so we started off with a single learning academy. It had approximately 14,000 square feet. We've now added an extra 20,000 square feet. We have the capability to train up to 700 people in a single day between these two academies. 350 people, in one shift, 350 people in another shift. So we really are building this as a future forward-looking investment because we're very confident in terms of what Akasa is going to look like, 5 years from now and 10 years from now. So this is our investment in our own future and the future of our employees and our customers.
So currently you mentioned that 700 professionals are going to be trained at a time. How many professionals so far Akasa has gotten, and what you're looking at, what numbers that you're looking at, maybe for this year, 5 years down the line?
Yeah. So Samir, I'd say, just to correct it, we have the capability to train, the capacity to train 700 people. We're not yet training 700 people. As I said, this is an investment for the future. Today we've got about 2,500 employees, a little over 2,500 employees. Okay. By the end of the fiscal year, we'll be approximately 3,500 employees. 5 years down the road, we should be 7,500 to 8,000 employees. So this is something that, airlines, when they grow, you tend to attract a lot of employees, and these employees need to be trained continuously. By the way, it's not just that the training is done one time when people join us. Airlines have the most rigorous standard of continuous training. So people are coming back to the academy, multiple times in a year to be trained.
Okay. So how it's going to benefit the end consumer, the flyers, in the sense that the way you are training your manpower, your professionals, how it's going to change their flying experience and the benefit to the entire aviation sector as a whole?
Yeah. So first, having well-trained aviation employees, I think, is good for the entire sector, right? To the question of how is it going to benefit the end consumers? First and foremost, and we don't talk about this platform of world-class safety that we're building at Akasa a lot, because those things are left unsaid. Okay. But this, first and foremost helps us with our safety and security training, right? And we'll put that aside because those are things that people put their trust in us, and we hope that they'll take for granted. Apologize, but you see the door trainer here, it's live, and with that comes a bit of noise. But this door trainer has the capability to simulate all manner of emergencies. And one of the things that we use it for is to train our cabin crew on emergency training. So I apologize for the noise. But how it will benefit the end consumer beyond this platform of world-class safety that we're building is in every other aspect of the customer experience. So the manner in which they are served at the airport, the manner in which they are served on board the flight, all of that training is done here from a direct consumer experience perspective, but also from a reliability perspective. So Akasa, since its inception, has been India's most on-time airline, right? You look at any statistic from our inception and you average that out across the last several months that we've been around, and we are India's most on-time airline, including the last 3 consecutive months of March, April, and currently May. To provide that level of dependability, you need well-trained mechanics, you need well-trained airport, not just customer service agents, but typically people that operate below the wing to turn the aircraft around. You need well-trained pilots. And so our customers will be able to see it not just in the soft skills training that we provide, but also in the reliability of the schedule, because that training is done right here.
Okay. So Dube, I don't want to be wrong in numbers when I speak about your fleet size or even the route, the way you are expanding. Usually every month the number goes on
That's
increasing.
correct. That's correct.
So I would like to understand the strategy point of view, the manpower that you are currently having and the way you are inducting the new aircraft. How you are preparing for it, in the sense that you are getting an additional manpower for it, you are keeping it sort of a reserve bench. What is the strategy?
So we have to have employees join us well in
And also
advance.
I would like to know the fleet and the
Sure.
routes that you are serving.
So today we've got 19 aircraft. By the end of this year, we should be close to 24 aircraft, and then we'll continue to get 12 to 14 aircraft every year. And when I said the end of the year, I mean the end of the calendar year. We should be close to 24 aircraft by the end of the calendar year, and then every subsequent calendar year, we'll get 12 to 15 aircraft every year, right? So it's growing 1 to 1.5 aircraft, every single month. Our employees are joining us commensurate with that aircraft growth, but not commensurate with the aircraft we have today, but commensurate with the aircraft we're going to have a few months down the road. Because in aviation, you can't get an airline employee today and expect them to serve our customers tomorrow or fly our planes tomorrow or be a mechanic and repair our aircraft tomorrow. There's a very long training period that happens. And so we always hire well in advance of the fleet we're going to have. Right? And that's the reason why we've got 2,500 employees today. We'll have 3,500 employees by the end of this fiscal year, which is end of March, and so on. And by the way, you talked about getting numbers a bit off. I get these numbers off because I thought, a little while ago we had 2,400 employees, and I was told, no, we're above 2,500 employees. So when you're growing that rapidly, it's hopefully excusable to get some of these numbers a bit off. Yeah.
One viewpoint I would like to understand, see the way aviation sector is growing. There's a huge demand, there's a huge scope for the talented professionals, for the ready manpower. Okay, you have got your own setup, but do you think so that this sector as a whole is able to meet those requirements in terms of like pilot requirement, the cabin crew, the ground staff? How you take it?
Yeah. So I'll say that that India in general has been the talent pool of the world. So if anyone can do it in any sector, it's India. And so I'm very, very bullish about our ability not just to grow in terms of capacity or passenger demand, but the infrastructure requirements and the talent requirements that the aviation sector has. But I will say that we are focused on ourselves. For us to attract the best talent, we need to have an extremely employee-centric culture, which means you have to, not just pay them at the market salary, but you have to treat people with a lot of dignity and respect. You have to make sure they feel nurtured. You have to make sure that they believe this is their home, have ownership in Akasa, and that's where we spend a lot of our time. I'll just give you, a few examples. When we wanted to design our flight attendant uniforms, we absolutely said we're not going to put our flight attendants in uncomfortable shoes. We have gender-neutral uniforms. We've got, sneakers or tennis shoes that they have because our flight attendants stand all day long. So if you don't have that thought process, or we're the first ones to have paternity leave, or we just provided one extra day of holiday for every single person in the company for them to actually participate in some form of charity work of their choice. So if tomorrow someone wants to go save the whales, or someone wants to go work with blind people or with children, if it's a registered NGO, they get to take one extra day of holiday just to do the charity work. So we believe that, at Akasa, we want our employees to be first good human beings, and they can be Akasa employees second. And so when we have that kind of ethos, backed by the growth in the financial security that we have at Akasa, and when we have that kind of respect, or right here the door trainer, the veracity with which we train our people, our view is that's what we need to do to attract the best talent, and that's the response we're getting. That's the reason why we're at 2,500 employees today. That's the reason we'll get to 3,500 employees. But you have to build an employee-centric organization. In fact, I'm sorry this is a slightly longer answer because I feel so passionate about it. But in particular in the service industry, you have to have an employee-centric culture. If your employees are not happy every single day, they can't make your customers happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So it's very, very important for us to have this employee-centric culture.
And that Cafe Akasa or the sneaker part gained very positive traction on social media as well. Now, I would like to understand from the airline's perspective. Would you like to share that how you want to proceed in adding new routes or what is there in the pipeline? And as you mentioned that the way your fleet size is increasing. Now, which all sectors you think so are going to be much more fruitful?
Yeah. So Samir, as an airline guy, I can't actually give you which sectors we're flying and not flying, right? That's also not legal because it's against the Competition Commission of India rules or general competition commissions around the world to be able to say that I'm flying here or want to fly there. But I will tell you that we will continue down the philosophy and network strategy that we have today, which is we'll continue to build capacity from the metros to tier 2 and tier 3 cities domestically. We're very excited that we will launch our international flight. We hope by the end of this year to launch our first international flight will be before the end of this calendar year. So we've got another 7 months to go, and we're making preparation. And as you know, it requires us to have our 20th aircraft. Those are the rules. We'll get our 20th aircraft here in the next 45 days or so. But then we'll also get the 21st and 22nd and 23rd and 24th aircraft before the end of this year. So we're not super focused on just the 20th aircraft. And so international by the end of this year, and domestic, you'll see us continue more of the same. So lots of expansion and lots more options for Indian flyers coming up.
This is not my question. Viewers want to know that international expansion, if you want to throw some more light in the sense that, okay, is it going to be a long sort of a flight, long route sort of a flight, or you want to start with focusing on the Asian part and then...
So that's an easy question to answer. So that one I can actually answer with some information because our aircraft have a capability of flying about 5.5, 6 hours or so with a full payload, which means that the range that we will fly is across the Middle East, Southeast Asia, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. These are the general areas around which we will fly, and so by the end of this year, one of those cities and one of those geographies is where we hope to fly. Our planes don't have the capability to reach, Europe. Our planes don't have the capability, certainly, North America, and so those are clearly out.
But I also heard that to enhance this capacity, to go more aggressive on this international plan, there is a chance that you may place another aircraft order. It is there in your thought. It is there in your pipeline. Want to share something on this?
Sure. So by the end of this year, not only will we fly international, but by the end of this year, we'll also place a much larger aircraft order, right? So we've placed an order for 72 aircraft, and we'll place a significantly larger order than that by the end of this year. We're well on our way to doing that. And so if we plan on completing that before the end of this calendar year, you can imagine that we're in discussions with the manufacturers today. So certainly. But I can clarify that that larger order is not going to include wide bodies, which means that from a network perspective, it doesn't change the response that I have provided you. We're going to stay focused on narrow bodies. That's, well, not domestic. It'll be international as well, but international within the sphere of 5.5 to 6 hours is what the capability of a narrow body is, and that's what we'll stay focused on.
So you mentioned about the philosophy part. When this Akasa Air was launched in August last year, we interviewed and you mentioned that airfares are going to be your key highlight point. Okay, affordable fares, that is what you are going to provide to the customers. But seeking the current scenario, the way airfares have gone up, contributing to several factors, you think so you are forced to have the sort of escalation in your fares as well? Overall, what you understand?
So I would say a couple of things. First, to be able to provide affordable fares, an airline needs to have a competitive cost structure. That remains a core part of Akasa. We have a very competitive cost structure because we've set this airline up correctly from day one. It's been set up by a group of professionals who've had decades in aviation. And when you do that, you can establish your cost structure correctly from day one. Because there are elements of decision-making that you make on day one that determine your cost structure for the next 10 to 15 years, right? And so the first element of affordable fares is establishing your airline correctly from a cost structure perspective, and we've done that. And so we have the capability to continue to offer affordable fares as we're doing today. The second thing I would say is India today, yesterday, day after, 1 year ago, 5 years from now, continues to have some of the most attractive fares in global aviation, right? So be able to go 1,100, 1,200 kilometers for 5,000 rupees, which is the equivalent of $55, $60, is the cheapest fares in global aviation. If you were to do that in most other parts of the world, it would be much higher. So I just want to say that for a long, long, long time to come, and I'm not commenting on a month here, a month there,
Okay.
but for a long time to come, I'm talking about 20 to 30 years, as you look at this supply and demand and infrastructure balance, I think it's going to be consumer focused. I think our consumers are going to be very happy because we will continue to have affordable fares for a long time to come.
My last set of questions. The way aviation sector is turning up, you see, currently the market share is being dominated by just two players, more than 80%. The way two of the airlines, if I specifically mention Jet Airways, they almost failed to revive. The closing of Go First, though they are struggling to once again come up and resume their flights. You think so that is sort of a setback, that is sort of a negative sentiment for the aviation sector globally and for the consumers? How you take these sort of development as a whole?
So to be honest, given that we're focused on our consumers, given that we're focused on our employees, we don't pay a lot of attention to, airline A or airline B or airline C, whether it's the airlines that you've named or airlines that you haven't named. Our view is we couldn't be more excited about the future of Indian aviation. We really couldn't be more excited. We've got decades of growth here. And if we run a good airline, run professionally with empowered people with deep experience, if we continue to focus on our cost structure, if we continue to focus on service excellence, the reliability, the on-time performance that we've got today, the consumer experience we have, and we do that with an employee centricity, I think we'll be just fine. So we're just not focused on what's happening around us because we think we've got a path that we're on that if you were to put the exciting consumer demand that is ahead of us as far as aviation is concerned, we're very excited about our personal future. We're very excited about the home we're going to create for our employees, their growth and development. And so that's what we're focused on.